What's up, and welcome to another round of MTGA Tasting Notes. We have a couple of our really tiny releases to go through today. Some of you are familiar with our single barrel wines that we literally make just one barrel of. For years and years, it has been our Merlot, which has been this little guy right here. We've been making single barrel Merlot since 2013. And it's been a staple in the lineup since then. It's kind of our reserve bottling, so to speak. It gives me a lot of creative liberty and license to go into the cellar in January after harvest as I'm making all my oak program decisions and aging decisions on a wine and say, okay, which barrel is just a rock star and what can I use and run with over the next 11 to 20 months before we decide to bottle up and just make it as good as we possibly can. It took a few years to finally be able to make a single barrel wine out of our Merlot vineyard. We tried to get through about 4 harvests before we made that call to break off that one barrel and do something special with it. And now we've done it again with something completely new and different. Our 2019 Black Knight single barrel Pinot Noir. It's a mouthful. This comes from the Black Knight Vineyard over towards Bennett Valley in Sonoma. Our Pinot has been a staple in our lineup for years at this point. And in 2019, I wanted to try and see if we can't make that kind of quote unquote, Grand Cru style of Pinot Noir and just make something that was super special, super yummy, and just kind of takes what you might know as our Bennett Valley Pinot to a new level. So we did just that. Now, typically our Pinot Noir release is a combination of a few different types of Pinot Noir, clones of Pinot Noir for different flavors, different characteristics, just adding layers and layers of complexity. In this particular case, it is just one clone, and that's 667. It is generally the clone that holds that Bennett Valley Pinot together. It's what takes some of the more structured components, some of the lighter, kind of fruitier components, and it goes right down the middle and kind of really helps pull them together and create a beautiful finished wine. On its own, it stands alone beautifully. It's always been a clone that I've really enjoyed just to drink. Especially as I'm tasting through barrel samples and getting through blending. It has always been super yummy, and as a result, it was an easy front runner to make some single barrel Pinot Noir out of. So it is just that one clone. True to style with our single barrel wines, we do amp up the oak aging on it. So this is in 100% new oak versus what is normally about 30% new oak for our Pinot Noir. So we really ratcheted that up, but we used a particular barrel from Gamba, and it really helps accentuate some beautiful floral characteristics, the subtleties in the wine, and it doesn't overdo it. It doesn't taste woody at all, which is outstanding. For me, that's where a lot of wines kind of go astray, is that there's so much new oak that that's really the defining sole characteristic, and they get more 2x4-ish than they get really sexy and vanilla-y and chocolatey. And we wanted to lean more towards those really yummy flavors rather than those woody flavors. So I've always been very, very cautious when using a lot of new oak, and I usually try to be pretty light-handed with it. But when you find the right barrels for your program, you can really lean into it, and it's gonna help accentuate that wine more than anything else. So, as is tradition, I'll sit here, take a sip, you get to watch me drink some wine. Hopefully it's like 5 o'clock somewhere and you can crack open a bottle and enjoy this video while I'm drinking. You can dive into something as well. And something that the big difference between this Pinot, kind of flavor characteristic wise, are those bigger, kind of richer fruit characteristics, as well as those chocolatey, kind of butterscotchy notes and those floral characteristics that I just mentioned. Those are the driving force in this wine. It's this nice, really big, really smooth, just kind of wave of flavor that crosses your palate, where traditionally our Bennett Valley Pinot, kind of our staple in the lineup, that has the white label, is a little spicier. It's got a little bit more pop. It's definitely, that wine is definitely our barbecue wine. When I'm cooking pulled pork on my big green egg, like that's what I go for, is that Bennett Valley Pinot. This guy here is a lot smoother, a lot more elegant. It just really, I mean, it just carries itself. It is just like this rolling wave across your taste buds. It's kind of the best way I can describe it. It's just yummy, which is still to this day my favorite wine characteristic. You do pick up a little bit of those, beautiful barrel characteristics, those chocolates and vanillas and things on the nose, but again, it's not woody, and that is, for me, even surprising because of how subtle and soft Pinot can be. I don't want to, it'd be like over salting a dish. Once there's a bunch of salt in there, there's really not a lot you can do. And Pinot Noir, for me, you always run that risk because it's a little softer, a little more subtle. It can still be a big wine, but it just doesn't have the backbone that, say, Cabernet Sauvignon does, that might stand up easier to new oak. And I think the beautiful thing about it is just how smooth it is. For what is a really big, full-bodied wine, it just coasts. I'm so incredibly happy with how this turned out. It was definitely our R&D project from 2019. We weren't really sure if we would end up bottling this or if it would just be blended back into our normal Pinot Noir lot, but I was so happy to bottle this in August of last year and finally to have it out and about. As is tradition with some of our single barrels, it goes pretty quick, so we have about 5 cases of this remaining. So if you need to snag some of it, you should probably jump on our site or give me a call and we'll get some all set up for you. I really hope that you have a chance to give this a shot. If you are planning a trip out to Napa and need to try some of these single barrels, of course, reach out, let us know. Would love to get some in your glass. This has been a true joy of a wine to make. It's something completely different than what has been in our lineup over the last 11 years now, and super excited to get out in the world. So hope you enjoy.